everyone. Welcome to the Dog Mom Knits podcast, episode 6. Love, 2 hands. My name is Amanda, and I live in coastal Virginia with my husband, Sean, our 3 dogs, Bandit, Copper, and Finley, and our turtle, Rowena. You can find me on Instagram as Dog Mom Knits and on Ravelry as Dog Mom Knits 08. And we do have an email address for this podcast, and it is dogmomknits@gmail.com. Please reach out and say hi or just check in, ask any questions. I love talking back and forth with you guys. It just makes me happy. This is a knitting podcast where I talk about all of my crafty adventures, and I will have links to everything that all the shops and podcasts that I talk about will be linked in the drop down box below. So today is April 18th. It's been about 2 weeks since I last podcasted. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much and welcome back. Every subscribe, every like, every comment just means so much to me. And I'm really just grateful for the way the podcasting community has just, and the YouTube community has just embraced me and this podcast so much. Well, as I said, it's April 18th, which is a big day in our house for 2 reasons. One, it is my sister-in-law's birthday. So happy birthday, Shelly, if you're watching. And the second reason is because it is, she's being transported over here. It is Finley's Gotcha Day. Hi, Fiend. We picked up Finley 1 year ago today. And she is amazing. And she's a little mommy's girl. And I love her. Don't I? Do you love me? Sometimes? All right, go get your brothers. She wants to go play. She doesn't want to be held. But yeah, we picked her up a year ago today. Excuse me. So today is, today's her little gotcha anniversary. And I just, I put a picture up earlier in like the montage that starts the podcast of a split screen of her a year ago and then today. And she's so big. She's so much bigger now. So, mid-month podcast is usually for checking in on my goals to see how I'm doing. And I feel really out of practice right now. Like, I don't know why. I don't know. It's Monday night. It's rainy. It's been raining like all day. Just blah. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe the weather's just messing with my head. I don't know. Maybe I'll get into the routine. Hopefully it doesn't feel like this the entire time I'm podcasting. I am looking down at my notebook that has my notes in it, which I'm really glad I sat down last night and wrote notes, because looking down at it going, I don't even remember what I'm supposed to talk about. So, April goals. So if you're a returning viewer, you know I have 3 goals that I set for myself each month. The first is to knit a new project. The second is to knit my Desert Vista Dye Work socks. And the third is to pick up a UFO, an unfinished object, a languishing whip, and finish that up during the month. So I try to use these like mid-month podcasts to check in on my goals and see where I'm at, how I'm doing. So let's start with, what's the first one on my list? My new project for April is in my bag from, oops, almost dropped it, Mountain State Stitches. And it is my perfect fit socks that I am doing with it, like using the perfect fit course from Nitty Natty. I really, 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 really highly recommend, sorry, I'm putting this on a sock blocker. Highly recommend if you knit a lot of socks, or if you want to start knitting socks, seriously. It's not going to fit great because it's really like perfect fit. But this is my first sock. I finished it on spring break, which is a couple weeks ago. And it is amazing. I have no idea if that's even in the screen. There it goes. It's so beautiful. The colors do not transpose well onto the camera. They are much, much brighter in person. The yarn that I used is Yarn Cafe Creations. The colorway is Boozy Hot with Sale. This yarn is an 8515. I just noticed that pulling of the blue. That looks pretty cool. It's an 8515. I love it. I tried the sock on several times throughout the process, and it lives up to its name. It is a perfect fit sock. It fits me from cuff to toe exactly like it's supposed, like exactly like I would want it to fit all the way down. So that's super exciting. I love, love, love the fit of this sock. And now I need to knit the other one. So I cast it on, but that's as far as I've gotten, is just that little bit. So that's okay. I've got a couple more weeks in the month to be able to knock out that second sock. And I think, not giving too much of the pattern away, or the class away, but there was a lot, for that first sock, like just trying to figure stuff out. And so I think the second sock will go much faster. So yeah, so that's my new project that I designated as my new project for this month. Can you guys hear Finley? She's been in her crate today because my husband, Sean, had to go back to work at his office. So she was in her crate today. And so now she's like running around trying to get her brothers to play with her. And currently they are not interested. Maybe they will become interested, but currently they are not. But that's my first project for this month, my new project. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. And yeah, I just need to kind of I haven't knit on it. Yeah, in a while. So I need to get back on it and get that one going. So my next project that I'm going to show you guys is another new project. So I have this new project, and now I have this new project. This is in a project bag from the guy who sews, which is my husband. It is one of the very first project bags he ever made me, and I love it. It's so fun. So I am in the Nitty Natty membership, and this month we're doing a knit along every month, and this month is brioche, learn brioche. And I have wanted to learn brioche for quite some time and have been just too intimidated by it to really be able to start something with brioche. And I wasn't going to participate in the make along. I was like, I have enough stuff going on. I'm not going to worry about it. And then I started seeing some of the patterns that people were going to knit. And I saw the pattern. It's hold on, I wrote it down. The Beginner Brioche Hat by Carrie Perrins, I believe is how that's pronounced. And so I went into my stash and I found 2 skeins of yarn that were fairly coordinating, that I could hold double. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to cast it on and see what happens. And so I cast it on April 2nd, and I finished it on April 16th. So yeah. This is also a new project for this month, and it's completely done. The ends are woven in. I haven't blocked it yet or washed it. I won't really block it. but I haven't washed it yet. But here it is. Can't even. And the brioche is here at the rim, edge, hem, brim. The bottom of the hat. Y'all, this rainy Monday is killing me. The brioche is this far down here. And I have to say, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Like, I just had built it up to be something major in my head. And it was fairly simple. I mean, it's a beginner brioche pattern. So, you know, I appreciate that she took it easy on us. But, yeah, it was not that bad at all. I got into the hang of it pretty quick. And then just kind of repeated the sequence of stitches out loud so that I could hear myself saying it. Sorry, guys, copper's bumping into the table. And then, yeah. And then away I went. So it's a little big. I think that's fairly obvious based on the, like, it just feels big. It looked big when I was knitting it, but it was my first time doing like brioche. So I was like, I'm just going to do what the pattern says. But I have enough yarn. So I should talk about the yarn. I have enough yarn. Sorry for any glare. Finley convinced her brother Copper to play with her. So sorry if you could hear Copper like throwing himself onto the floor. I don't know why that's considered playing. But I have enough yarn to knit another one. So my mom was here yesterday for Easter and she tried it on and she likes it. She actually likes that it's bigger because she can wear it and not have to worry about it mushing her hair down, which I thought was really funny. So I'm going to give this one to her. And then I'm going to knit another one for myself on, I'm actually going to go down stitches and down a needle size. Because I think I need to do both. It's pretty big. And I don't like oversized hats, like super slouchy hats. I don't wear a lot of hats anyway, but if I do, I definitely prefer the beanie style of a hat. So the first yarn that I used is from Yarn Hero Fiber Arts. And it is... Yes. Finley won their little tug of war. And Copper was displeased. So it's Yarn Hero Fiber Arts. It is in their 100%, oh, really? 100% superwash merino in the colorway Make Believe. And that is this color right here. That is this variegated blue, purple, green. Then the second colorway, the second yarn that I was holding with it is Cascade Heritage sock yarn. And the color is 5614. And I loved how the two yarns together worked. Like the way this did like a striping, but it muted out the bright colors of the Yarn Hero Fiber Arts because I was holding it double with a purple. I just love it so much. And then when I got to the brioche ribbing, the brioche part, I did the variegated in the knit stitches to push it forward and the purple on the purl stitches to push it back. Because I wanted that pop of color right there at the edge, brim, edge. I don't know. What is, I can't word today. I'm only an English teacher. What are words to an English teacher? Nothing important at all. No big deal. So this hat was really special. Copper lost again. He loses a lot to his little sister, I'm just saying. So this hat, I realized when I started it, that this hat actually has 4 new, like, special things about it. So, number 1, this is my first time knitting something with 2 yarns held double. I've always heard people talk about doing that. I've never done it. Well, now I have. But I had never done it before. And so that's number 1. Number 2, this hat pattern, and I don't want to give too much of it away, but the hat starts at the crown and you work your way down. So that was cool. I've never done a hat like that before. I actually really liked it. I kind of want to knit more hats like that. Like, I really enjoyed it. 3, it's my first time knitting a hat on magic loop instead of DPNs. So I did all the increases, right? The crown increases, not decreases. I did all the crown increases on magic loop because Natalie was talking about that, and she said something about knitting a hat, you don't have to use DPNs. And I was like, eh? You don't have to use DPNs because you can knit in the round on magic loop. And I went mind blown. I hate DPNs. Like, they stress me out. I call them the devil's fingers. Because I don't like them. The stitches go everywhere when you have DPNs. There's no control. And I am a control freak. I need control in my life. So I knitted on magic loop and I was like, game changer. It was a game changer. Not going to lie. Simple little things. Game changer. And then the 4th special thing, sorry, I really love the colors of this hat. The 4th special thing was that I did brioche for the first time. And I just thought it was really cool. I love that being part of that Nitty Natty. Well, I love being part of the Nitty Natty membership anyway because of the connections that I make with people and all the people that new people that I get to meet. But I love that it is, you know, these make-alongs that we're doing are kind of helping me branch out of my comfort zone and do things that I've never done before. So pretty exciting. I'm looking at my notes to see what else I needed to say. And that was it. So I'm going to take a drink of water. So on the last podcast, I talked about my UFO, which is my unfinished object for this month. And I said I needed to finish it because I wanted to cast on the outstanding shawl, and I was going to be sensible and not cast on the outstanding shawl until I finished my other shawl. Sensibility went out the window, ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday. And I went ahead and cast it on. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. I tell myself, because it'll be fine. So this is the Outstanding Shawl by Christine Archer. I am knitting it for the Spring Shawl knit along with Nitty Natty and Yarnia. I'm knitting it out of Yarnable's Shenanigans colorway. This is from the March Yarnable box. And I've just barely started. Hold on, it's all tangled. I've just barely started, but I am loving it so far. Yes, this is the right side. So this is as far as I've gotten so far. Come on. The cord of these needles is not nice. Okay, there we go. It's like all twisted. So you can see a little bit of that texture. There you go. There's the texture. And it's just this beautiful yarnable yarn. Is so soft and so just, plush. That's what it is. It's plush. And so I got about this far Saturday and Sunday. I worked on it for not quite a while. It's really fast. Because I mean, you start down here with like almost no stitches and then it just starts to grow. So I just really, really love it. I don't know, I finished my hat and I was like, okay, I'll go back to my socks. And then I was like, do I really want to knit my socks? Not really. Who am I? I knit 15 pairs of socks last year and 1 shawl. And this year I'm like, meh. I mean, I love knitting socks. Don't get me wrong. I have socks on the needles right now. 2. 1 you've already seen. But, I don't know. It's just not what I'm reaching for, I guess. Like, it's words. Where are all of my words? It's just when I reach into my basket and I'm like, okay, what am I going to knit on? It's like I'm gravitating to my shawls and my hats and not my socks. And it's just a weird feeling for me because I've been almost a strictly sock knitter for 2 years now. And I guess maybe I'm like, okay, been there, done that. Time to branch out? I don't know. I still love knitting my socks, but I don't know, for some reason, just find myself gravitating to my shawls now. I don't know. I'm knitting my outstanding shawl on my Knitter's Pride Zings. These are size 7s, right? US 7s, which is what's called for in the pattern. And I'll keep you guys updated because there's way more yarn in this bag because there's more coming. And I will show you. I showed all the colors and stuff on the last podcast if you're interested. The bag that I have it in is one of my acquisitions for this month. It is from 3 by the Sea Designs. It was part of their Ukrainian update. A fundraiser that they did to help with, help support Ukraine. We do have, for anybody that's new, we host exchange students, and our exchange student this year was from Ukraine. She went home early in December, and she and her family stayed, and have stayed throughout the conflict, the war. I guess really just call it what it is. It's a war. Thank you to everybody that has reached out and asked about her. She is doing well as can be expected. I think she and a lot of Ukrainians are just growing weary of the fighting. But they're strong. They're a strong, strong country. And yes, and she appreciates all the prayers and all the thoughts. Every comment that mentions her, I screenshot it and send it to her so that she knows that there's a whole community supporting her. Because my hope is, my prayer is that gives her strength as she continues to just live through this. But this bag is stunning. It's sunflowers, which are my favorite, and the flower of Ukraine. And then it's the blue and the yellow from the country flag. And then there's let me see if I can get it to turn around. There it is. There's a sunflower progress keeper on that little tab. So it's absolutely beautiful. I absolutely love it. I tried not to use it until I'd shown it on the podcast. And then when I caved, when I gave in to temptation and decided to cast on my outstanding shawl, I was like, well, I don't have my project bag that I was going to use, but I have this. I'll just go ahead and use that. So hopefully that I'll have some time to give that some more love as we go through the month. I think the knit along ends towards the end of May. And seeing how fast that first kind of set of like repeats is going. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I can make that happen. So that would be very cool. So my unfinished object project for the month. So if you're counting, of the projects that I have shown you thus far, only one of them is a goal for this month. The other two, the hat and the outstanding shawl, are just cast on itis. Just needing to cast on all the things. So my perfect fit socks are technically my new project for this month. And then this project, which is in another bag by Mountain State Stitches, is my UFO project, my unfinished object project for the month. It is in Wonderland Yarns Pigments of Imagination. This is their Mad Hatter set. And I am knitting the Katie Goes Loopy shawl by Cozy Up Knits. And last time you guys saw it, I was kind of in the pink right in here. And so I finished the flowers for the pink. I did the yellow flowers, and now I'm doing the green. And I love this project. I love how simple it is, but I love how it doesn't look simple, and it's so soft and it's so squishy, and that's amazing. And, you know, the pattern says you've got these flowers and then another strip of garter and then flowers and another strip of garter and flowers. And I am here for the entire pattern. But you know what isn't here for the entire pattern? My main color. This is all I have left of the white. I weighed it. It's 5 grams. I've got 2 more times that I have to use it. And I just do not think it's going to make it. Sorry, my nose is itching. I cannot imagine knitting 2 more of these sets of 3 with only 5 grams. I have plenty of the main color. I mean, the colors. Like, this is what I have left of the pink, and I'm completely done with it. So, part of the not wanting to work on this, or not wanting to, but my hesitation to work on it, that's probably the better word, is that I know I'm not going to have enough yarn. So what do I do? Do I just stop it early? So I have all 5 colors down here, but I only have 3 colors up here? Do I knit the 3 colors with the white and then do the blue and purple together? Do I try to do the blue without the white? Do I try to find a white that's the same base and the same basic color? Like, help. I'm throwing it out to the podcasting world. Please help. I love my shawl. I want to finish it. I want to love it and wear it all the time. But I don't know how to finish it with only 5 grams of the white. So what would you do? How would you finish this shawl knowing that you're going to run out of essentially what is, I think in the pattern, it's my main color. Like it's called my main color. What would you do? Leave a comment down below and help me out because I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to finish it. Knowing I'm going to run out of that color. So, yeah. Please leave a comment down below and let me know what you would do. How would you finish it? I look forward to hearing your brilliant thoughts because I know they're going to be brilliant and they're going to help me finish my shawl and still love it. So my last goal for April is my Desert Vista Dye Work socks. It is in my, I'm holding it in my, The Guy Who Sews Scaredy Cats bag. And again, The Guy Who Sews is my husband. The colorway I'm using this month for the Desert Vista Dye Works 8th annual monthly sock club is on her ZN base, and it is The Magician's Nephew, which is the first book in the Chronicles of Narnia series. Her ZN base is her glitter base, and I absolutely love this colorway. And I am almost done with my first sock. So this is the first sock. Bring it up closer so you can see those beautiful colors. And I said on the podcast, the last podcast episode, that when I was thinking about the colorway, or excuse me, when I was thinking about the Desert Vista Dye Work socks for this month, an idea for a pattern just kind of epiphany, lightning bolt into my head. And I was like, okay, I wonder if that would work. And so I just started knitting with it, with the pattern idea that I had in my head. And I really like it. So I'm going to finish the pair. And then I'm going to write this pattern up and get it test knit. And I'm going to go ahead and have 2 patterns out there in the world. I can't even believe it. I'm shocked, but it's exciting. Like, it's really fun. So, oh, I didn't say anything about the sock, did I? I'm so sorry, you guys. So I'm knitting this on Chalgoo US 1.5 needles, on any 75-25 yarn, sock yarn. That's what I use, is a US 1.5. If I'm knitting on an 80-20 or an 85-15 yarn, I will knit using a US 2. I knit, I think it was 83 rounds for the leg. It was 15 round cuff and then 83 rounds for the leg. I did not intend to do the leg that long. But I was just knitting and loving the process and loving the pattern coming out and the way it looked and loving the colors. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I should stop and count and see how far I am. And I was at 83 and I was like, okay, I should stop because I have to knit another one of these. And I did a heel flap and gusset just for something different because I did a Fishlets Kiss heel last month. And now I'm just knitting away on the foot. And like I said, I'm pretty close. I think I'm less than an inch, or right at a ½ inch away from where I start my toe. And then I'll be done with sock number 1. And that's pretty cool. I kind of like that I've got another pattern brewing around up here. It's pretty exciting. My last pattern came out in July of last year. So yeah. No, August of last year. Sorry, I put it out on my birthday. So it's pretty cool that I've got another one that's like all I have to do is type it up. It's pretty fun. So that's all that I've been knitting on. It's a lot of knitting. Like, I sat down last night and was looking at the notes and thinking about Finley. I'm sure you hear that. That she's so funny. I'll take a drink of water. Hold on. In all likelihood, that means that the neighborhood cat has come into her driveway. And Miss Finley does not enjoy the cat at all. So that's usually the bark that's reserved for the cat. She's inside, it's outside, it's not intimidated by her. She'll sit in the window and bark, and the cat will just stare at her. Just look at her. And she just keeps right on barking, like somehow she's going to get more intimidating if she continues to bark, and the cat just stares at her. Not blinking, just staring. Poor Finley. She wishes she was more intimidating than she was to the neighborhood cats. It's a very sad day when she knows that she's not intimidating to cats. So I was sitting down last night and I was looking at, you know, how much knitting I had, like what I was going to talk about in the podcast. And I was like, wow, I need a lot in 2 weeks, especially for 2 weeks that have been as busy as they have been at school. I am really surprised. Like I knit an entire hat. I knit almost a full sock. I did one full repeat of my shawl and started another shawl. I mean, it just felt really good. It's felt really good these last 2 weeks with all the knitting that I've been able to do. So fingers crossed. I can keep this momentum going. So we're going to move into acquisitions because, you know, I needed more yarn. My husband just laughed at me. I mean, I laughed at myself, don't get me wrong. Like, I didn't need more yarn, but, you know, doesn't he really? We've talked about this, right? Buying yarn is a hobby. Knitting with yarn is a hobby. I just happen to be good at both. It's okay. I'm okay with it. I couldn't say my husband is, but I am. So my first acquisition is, it's in this little bag. Isn't that cute? So it's this like brown and olive green with these little green minis. I had some, I think it was sugar and cream yarn from like Cotton Yarn. The cat is back. I had some sugar and cream yarn, you know, because I was going to knit washcloths. And I did, for a while, knit washcloths quite often because they were like my go-to. Like if I was going out of the house and I wanted something simple, I would just take my washcloths. And then I discovered socks. And they became my go-to. And I never knit on it. And I was like, okay, I'll keep it. I'll just knit later. And I had a huge bag of it. And I was like, I'm not ever going to knit this. I just finally gave it up. I was like, I'm never going to knit it. And so I kind of put it out there and I was like, I have this to give away if anybody wants it. And somebody was like, yes, I would love it. And I was like, awesome. And she said, you know, let's swap and I'll send you some sock yarn. And I was like, oh, that'd be really fun. So she sent me, there's the tag. Hold on. I knew it was in here. I just didn't see it. So the yarn is the Woolly Cabin. And it is called Cattails. Probably shouldn't let Finley see that. She'll probably want to eat it. And it's 75-25. She had already divided it up into two 50-gram balls. And then she has a little green mini that she also split that I can use for heels, toes, cuffs, whatever. And I just thought that was really cool. So, no idea when this will get cast on, but it's pretty and I like it. And it can hang out in my stash for a little while until I decide what to do with it. One of my other acquisitions this month is my Yarnable box. And I'm sure if you are interested, you have already seen an unboxing video. So I'm not going to show everything, but I just want to say, when I saw this colorway, it's called Mermazing. So my best friend who lives in Wisconsin, Jen, she gets a Yarnable box also. And so we FaceTime each other or whatever, Zoom each other. When we are opening our boxes, because it's like we're opening it together. And I opened, loved everything that was in it. And then I opened up the yarn and I was like, if I was a skein of yarn, this is what I would be. And I almost cast the socks on that night. I almost didn't wait. I did wait, but I almost didn't. Because, seriously, if Amanda was sock yarn, this would be her. And it's called Mermazing, so maybe it needs to wait for summer sock camp. Maybe I can wait that long. I probably can't. So the next yarn is also from Yarnable, but so I did not get the February box because, I don't know, moment of insanity. I was like, no, I'm not going to get it this month. And of course the colorway came out and I was like, ugh, how did I not get that? I was so bummed. And so I was watching Kristen of Do So Knits. I was watching her podcast and she said that she had gone through her stash and put up a bunch of yarn that she was going to de-stash and she had put it up on Ravelry. And so I went and looked because of course I did. And the very first yarn I saw was the February colorway from the March Yarnable box. And I was like, yes, please. And so I sent her a message. It's called Raspberry Cream. And it's this like, oh, look at all those pinks and browns. And it's so much brighter in person. It's just beautiful. And I'm so excited. So I got my February colorway, even though I didn't get my box. So that's really exciting. I'm glad to have that. And then, is this my last one? Yes. So in the Nitty Natty membership, we have pals, like pen pals kind of. And we send each other cards and little gifts. And we're matched together for 3 months. And I was matched with Christina. And she was like the best pen pal. And so for our last month in March, she didn't send me the little card only, which was the idea. She sent me a whole box. So she sent me the stitch markers that were the kind of swap thing for March. She sent me a bunch of them. But let me grab the big ones. So she sent me this little like sundae. And she sent me a little silver doggo. Isn't he so cute? And I do not think these are focusing very well. And I apologize for that. And she sent me this beautiful butterfly. Sparkly butterfly. And then she sent me a bunch of the light bulb stitch markers, which was so sweet of her. And then she went above and beyond. So she sent me this bag, which is from Erin Lane. And again, all of these shops will be linked down below, but there's her tag. I've never heard of this bag designer before, but look at it. They're little sheepy pharaohs. so cute. And it's one of those bags that's divided. I don't think I'm going to be able to show you guys this, but it's divided in the center. So I could put like 2 sock projects in here and just have one bag. Genius. So genius. And then she sent me a skein of dragonfly fibers. This is so gorgeous. Oh my goodness. It's called Gulf of Mexico. I believe the base is the Valkyrie base. But I mean, it's just stunning. And it's worsted weight? Maybe? I'm not very good with weights of yarn. I know that sock weight is fingering. Past that, I just guess. I'm like, oh, it's worsted. Oh, it's Aran. Oh, it's sock. Not sock, sorry. Oh, it's sport. Oh, it's DK. I really don't know. I know that there's something about, whoop, box almost fell. I know there's something about the stitches per inch and the size of the needles that tells you like what size it is. For some reason, my brain just cannot make that happen. So this is 4 to 5 stitches per inch on a US 7. It's superwash merino. I don't know. It feels thick, like a worsted. Huh. I'm kind of hoping this is enough for a hat. 200 yards. It's 4 ounces. I just think this would be such a beautiful and such a warm hat. Such a beautiful hat. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping I can find a pattern for it and it'll say, yes, in the pattern, it's going to say, yes, Amanda, you can knit a hat with this. Because it's totally how patterns are written, right? For me and only me. It's a thing, right? Absolutely. So my box is empty. I had so much stuff to show you guys. It's hard to believe it's only been 2 weeks and I had all that to show you. So I'm going to do a little bit of a life update, what I've been reading and watching and doing. And so if you're not here for that, that is more than okay. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll be back in 2 weeks with another podcast. But if you are here for a life update, I am still reading the Maggie Sefton series, the knitting series, and I am on book 11. And I still love it. It's my 3rd time reading the series and I absolutely love it. I have been watching quite a bit of TV lately. I finished Love is Blind season 2 on Netflix. I liked it. It was okay. I could have done without one of the people on the show. Like my life would have been better if that person hadn't been on it. And if you've watched it, I'm sure you know exactly who I'm talking about. But you know, people that test our patience just increase our patience level. So maybe I'm grateful. Maybe I'll be grateful after time passes. I don't know that I'm currently grateful. I also watched The Ultimatum on Netflix. If you've watched, you know, I ended up fast forwarding through most of it. Most of the episodes just to kind of get to the end and see what happens. And I kind of found that ending, the last episode was fine, but then once I watched the reunion, I was a little disappointed. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it or hasn't gotten that far, but I mean, I just, you know, if they came out with a season 2, I don't know that I would watch it. I watched also on Netflix, I watched Is It Cake? So I'm a sucker for all things cooking shows, especially baking shows. And this show is designed around making things out of cake so that they don't look like they're cake, and then trying to get people to guess which one is the cake. It was not the most riveting TV that I have ever seen, but I enjoyed playing along and trying to figure out which one was the cake and which one was not. And I was wrong more times than I was right. So that was, you know, it's good knitting. Like you don't really have to think about it. Just sit and watch it. while you're knitting. And then my big kind of the one that's been, I've been working through pretty steadily is on my last podcast. I asked for suggestions for shows because I was finishing House and I needed something else. And Stephanie suggested Broken Wood, which is on Acorn, and I love it. It is so good. So the episodes are kind of long. They're like almost, I think, 90 minutes, which is great. But usually by the time I get home and dinner and dogs and all that stuff, I do one episode. I'm able to watch one episode a night. So it's actually good. Like, it's good pacing. It means I'm not going to finish the show really quick. But I really like it. It's really cool. So if you like, mysteries, Broken Wood on Acorn. Stephanie's recommendation very much paid off. It's good. School's rolling along. We're in week 3 of the final quarter. So I have math, y'all. 9 minus 3 is 6. So I have 6 weeks of school left. That makes me happy and sad because I teach middle school. So I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So the group of 8th graders that I have, this is my 3rd year teaching them. It is my last year teaching them. And I'm just going to miss them so much. And so, the school year's winding down. That's a good thing. I'm ready for summer, but I'm going to miss them a lot. I'm going to miss being their teacher. So, end of the school year's a little bittersweet for me. What else? We spent Easter yesterday with my parents. They came over and hung out. We watched, we have MLB TV. And so we watched the White Sox game versus the Rays. I still try to call them the Devil Rays, the Rays. We are White Sox fans in this house, which works out nicely being in coastal Virginia, and we like the White Sox. We don't have any blackouts. We can watch the games on MLB TV whenever we want. My husband swears, so if there are any White Sox fans that watch this, my husband swears that yesterday's loss is all his fault because every time he watches a game, they lose. So he apologizes to any White Sox fans for the loss yesterday. He does accept ownership of that. But yeah, so baseball season. We have a AAA affiliate team. The AAA affiliate for the Baltimore Orioles is not far from us. And so we want to go to a game soon. And I wasn't really a big knitter the last time we went to a game, which was pre-COVID. So I'm thinking when we go back, I'm going to end up bringing my knitting to the game. And I'm just curious whether that's going to get me any weird looks. Have you ever knit at a sporting event? Like, do you get weird looks or do people think it's cool? Just curious. I'm wondering how that's going to work. I mean, I'm still going to take my knitting. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just curious what kind of looks I'm going to get. So I'm going to go watch an episode of Broken Wood and knit. Not sure on what. I don't know if I'm going to knit on my socks or if I'm going to knit on my shawl. Please leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions for my Katie Goes Loopy shawl. I mean, what do you do when you get towards the end of a project and you know you're going to run out of yarn? I would really appreciate any suggestions. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for hanging in with me. I know it's a longer one because, I don't know, the knitting bug bit, I guess. But thank you guys so much for hanging in with me, hanging out with me. And I pray that you guys have just a great next 2 weeks and that whatever you are knitting brings you lots and lots of joy. Happy knitting!